So, guys, sorry about that. Let's kick it off. How are you feeling today, guys? GMA54, it's been a couple weeks. How are you? Defcamp, Melderon and Dunedain, MadSeason.
Woo. Hey guys,
feeling
good. Back with another stream for you.
There he is, the monotone voice.
There it is.
Love that voice.
It's quite
Thanks
amazing
for having me,
being
guys.
It's
sorry.
a pleasure.
It's
No,
really
it's
good
quite
to have you.
amazing being able to talk to you finally in that season. The man that actually puts me to sleep every night when I listen to your videos. That's insane.
Hey, that's my specialty. But, like I said earlier, thank you guys for having me, man. I can extend the same to you guys. You guys are legends yourselves, so it's really fun to be here, and I'm looking forward to talking about Classic.
Well, let's give you a proper welcome, shall we?
Absolutely.
You
Defcamp,
guys
do the
ready?
honors. Do the
All right, you might want to lower me a little bit. I don't know if you're ready for this, but I'm probably going to cap out anyway. So here we go. You ready?
If you have high volume, careful, man. Careful.
High volume. Here you go, boys. We're here. Good morning, Azeroth. Episode number, 54. Here with MadSeasons. My boy.
MadSeasons.
Love it, you love
Plural,
it.
dude.
Mad
Hell
Season.
yeah.
Glad
We got
someone
them all.
MadSeasons.
providing the energy.
MadSeason
Plural,
show.
That's it. That's it.
MadSeason. All right, there you go. There you go. Hyped up, baby. Did it cap out?
You did a great job. I don't know if it capped out that time, but it was fantastic.
Oh,
You're
right.
energizing, Defcamp. We love to see it. So, Melderon,
yes.
we were just talking about this, man. What do you want to cover today on the show? We were talking about it a few months before we kicked it off, but what's the game plan, you thinking?
So I think the plan would be to cover. I think it's to be to cover the first is the changes that happened recently in the two blue posts that came out, and I like to go over Classic in general, about Naxx, about what our experiences have been. Because I mean, we all know we only know MadSeason from his videos, right? We don't know exactly Well, I like to get to know MadSeason a little bit better.
True.
And then I'd like to talk about TBC if that's possible. So
That's
Hell
kind
yeah,
of what I'm
brother.
thinking.
that is possible.
Yeah, brother.
So here's the thing. I think MadSeason's been doing the content thing probably longer than us, I would assume. Maybe not.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
I started my YouTube channel in, I think it was 2014, late 2014, September, I think. So I don't know if you guys started before or after that, but
16. We were 16.
Yeah.
2016. Oh, yeah,
I
that's
think,
pretty close.
and Kargoz was.
I was like a year before you guys, Melderon,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
So
Okay.
I think he has a few stripes on us, but it's always fun to hear about, just how you got into this. It's kind of a bizarre life we live. I don't know if you're full time with the content thing or whatever, but it's always interesting, because most of the time people don't expect their life to pan out in this way. But if you would be so kind to share, kind of your origin story with content and how you kind of got here.
Yeah,
Wow.
well, really, it's it's due to the failure of Current. The only reason I ever started my YouTube channel was during Draenor's, because I was so, and not to rip on Current too much, I don't want to turn this into a crap on Current stream, but really just nothing to do in Warlords of Draenor. Anyone who played that expansion knows that basically most players just sort of sat in their garrison and played with themselves the whole expansion.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, I'm bored. Let me make a video about like gold making or something. That's what I was doing at the time, just leveling alts and gold making, because my entire guild basically liquidated at that point, and I didn't really have anyone to play with. I wasn't really interested in finding a new guild, so that was just like purely my gold making expansion. And I was a gold guide YouTuber for about a year before I started branching out into other stuff. Then Legion came around, and I actually really liked Legion. Legion to me is like current World of Warcraft at its prime. And I think about midway through Legion, I started making videos about Classic, but more just like kind of nostalgia. I never really got into the private server scene, mainly because I get kind of attached to my characters in this game. It's kind of weird, but I don't know, it's just the way I am. So, knowing in the private server scene they get shut down all the time, Blizzard shuts them down, or there's like some issue with the servers, the people running the server themselves, and they just restarted. I was just like, I mean, it looks interesting, I want to play it, but I don't want to lose my characters. And, eventually that whole Nostalrius thing happening, was that like 2017?
That was right around WoD as well, I think, right?
Yeah.
That was 16.
That was after WoD. It was
16.
after WoD, I think, yeah.
Yeah,
Legion
that's-
came out
that's-
2016, yeah.
Yeah, the reason I know is because I started this channel because of Nost being shut down. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't interrupt your story. Yeah.
Oh no, it's I think from there basically I just kind of slowly transitioned to classic again, just because BFA just kind of petered out for me. So I eventually, then the classic announcement obviously was huge, and I was full on like, okay, let's do this.
Did you
Yeah, but
play,
you were making like content, like classic style content before the announcement. I remember you made the like the weapons. Like I remember you made the one about like benediction. I think that was before the announcement. But you were obviously there was a lot of hype going around, the classic stuff. But like you've always been a huge fan of like vanilla and classic WoW, and started playing like you said, you were telling us earlier, you started playing way back. When did you first start playing too?
I first started in March of 2005. I'm glad you're bringing that up because my friends always call me a professional rambler. So it was only natural that I took that to YouTube with like classic and talking about the old days and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. I'd have to track down when I made my first classic video, but I think it was maybe like 2015 or 2016. It was a few months before they announced classic, if I remember correctly. But that was just complete happenstance, and luck, I guess, that they later announced the official recreation.
Yeah.
I've always been so impressed by just the quality, the editing that goes in your videos, man. The passion, the love. A lot of us, know a lot about the game. We have the passion, but I mean, when it comes to making videos and stuff, it does take a lot of like an ensemble of hard skills to put stuff together. I'm curious, like, did you come from a video editing background or anything like that, or did you just kind of...
Same question.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was all self-taught. Well, I looked up YouTube videos, if you count that. But if you look at my earlier videos, they're incredibly basic. It's like video editing. It's just like any skill, I think. If you put time into it, you're going to become good at it, just like math or a musical instrument. I just, put an insane amount of time into it. I'm a very grindy person a lot of the times. That's why I eventually did rank 14. So it's just time. Just putting tons of time into it, and eventually you're just going to improve in that. And I don't know, I think my videos are all right. I appreciate it, but you guys make some pretty good stuff yourself, if I may say.
We make a lot of slides. Yeah, we make a lot.
Yeah,
we make a lot of slides.
With yours, MadSeason. It's like it's hard to explain, right? Because like you have different type of content creators out there. You have people like Willie, right? You have people like Willie. I think is like one of the
awesome
content creators. Great content, like a really good amount of content, and it's like it's easy to absorb. But then you have content creators like Platinum WoW, where it's like it's great content, but it has like that funny meme side of it.
Yeah.
But then you have content like yourself, and it like everyone's personality is in their content a little bit, right? Melderon's got he's a scientist, so he's got all these slides. Kargoz has got more of like he's got that military like themes going, like it's got everything is in order, like specifically like this that and it's very like, and I think your personality goes really really well into your videos because it's very it's like chill and relaxed, but at the same time you're captivated by it, right? So it's like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? It's not like, a lot of people will say, oh, like, MadSeason's, voice is like very monotone, but it goes so well with your videos.
that's the trademark thing.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's perfect because it's, I don't know. It's not like sometimes you watch a video and it's like too much going on. It's like too hype and this, that, and other. And you can tell the person's just putting too much into it. You're just putting yourself into it. And it never gets old. It never gets old.
That's the special sauce with them, because you would think on paper, if they're teaching a course on YouTube and Twitch, it's like you have to be very overzealous and enthusiastic, and like have all this vocal fry and all this. MadSeason hits them with the monotone voice, but it works. It's like it's endearing, it's like it's your special sauce, man. But yeah. So how's your classic journey been so far, man, up until this point? Have you accomplished what you wanted to accomplish? How do you view classic at this point? We've all this Naxxramas potentially on the horizon. Yeah.
It's a mixed bag. I mean, overall I love it. I mean, obviously I think I'm at nearly 100 days played on my warrior, and I have a bunch of alts at like 35, like 40s and stuff as well. I don't know, there's an add-on to like calculate days played, but I'm kind of scared to install it at this point and see what that number is. But like I said, it's been what I thought it would be in a lot of ways, and not so much in a lot of other ways. I think really the big plus for me would be mainly the community, and like the strong sense of community that you get from the game, and each of these servers having their kind of own unique flair. And I'm on Fairlena, which is the spicy streamer server, which can be a lot. It's a handful a lot of the times. There's a lot of spicy
I have a lot of
people on
questions
here.
about that. I'm sure we all do. Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah,
have
sure.
to say, Mads, like, what made you, I think you're the last person I thought that would roll in a server like that. Was this because you kind of wanted to have that experience? Just out of curiosity. Yeah.
I thought it would be more interesting, which it definitely was. It's more memorable in some good ways, but memorable in some bad ways, but still memorable. But also, really, I didn't have a guild, and I didn't have interest in making my own guild. It's a ton of work in Classic.
Yeah.
And I just became friends with Svent, actually. And then I was like, hey, can I join your guild? And he said, yeah. And then, he was rolling on Fairlina, of course. So
Right.
I made some friends within that group, and I figured, just roll with my friends, right?
No, yeah, that makes sense. That makes total sense. The reason I asked was because when you made that video about the PvP experience and stuff like that, and how negative, not how negative it was, but how negative it could have been and got sometimes.
It was negative sometimes. Don't be afraid to say that.
Yeah. I guess the whole time I was watching it, I was just kind of like, Mads doesn't seem the kind of person who would want to do this, like who want to be in a situation like this. And I don't know you, obviously. We never talked outside of Among Us and some stuff on Twitter, but it seems like you're more of not casual is definitely not the word. More of a
Chill.
Kind of a wholesome person, chill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just was wondering if how you got involved, and now it makes sense now that you explained. But yeah.
It's just taking the good with the bad, really. I mean, there's a lot of. It was pretty toxic. I think if people see your name. Typically what would happen if people ran into my pre-made, whether it be another pug or another pre-made, and whether they win or lose. I'm not just saying people are salty because they lost, but I don't know. There is definitely a community. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this as well. Maybe you can weigh in on this. That really hates streamers or YouTube channels quite a bit. And just no matter what you do, they're just going.
Even still, you feel that? I know at the very start. At the very start, it was very, very kind of aggressive. There was almost like a movement, against streamers. They came out with that website. It was like, what is it called? Fuckstreamers.com or something.
Class. Yeah.
And
no, I think it's if anything, in some places have gotten worse. I mean, there are people out there that will do anything to make someone who's a streamer or a content creator's life miserable. And it's weird, right? Because a lot of the people that are the very high echelon are like that. But then at the end of the day, there are people at the very high echelon who also stream and make content too. So it's like, you know what I mean? And I always found it weird. But and I think every server you're on is a different experience, right? So on a server like Herod, right? If you were a content creator on Herod, I think you'd have a much worse time, because that was where people went to get away from that, right? So if you were a content creator on Herod and you went there, you probably wouldn't have a good time. Where Fairlina, it's more expected, right? But then you got to remember, there's people who probably went to Fairlina just to fuck with people.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
That Shadow Priest guy or whatever that had all that drama.
Yeah.
Yep.
But so and our experience on Skyrim has been an interesting one, right? Because it started off a pretty decent server with good amount of Horde and Alliance, and I'm sure you know this. Where we're at we're 98% Horde now, right? So it's such a strange experience, dude. It's so weird.
Yeah, I will say that okay, I'll just real quick here. I didn't really know about Skyrim until I started ranking. And when I would pug, I would never see any lines from Skyrim, but their Horde premates out en masse all the time. So I eventually saw oh, it's a 99% server. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I feel like there's 4 alliance on that server.
Yeah, we've seen you a couple times while you were ranking. I remember it was pretty funny. So
I remember I gave you an emote. I think I remember seeing you.
I think I one shot. Someone. It was Asmongold. I one shot him with a EM because I was ranking on my shaman, not my priest. But it's
but
funny.
I want to say it feels like USS is those very distinct servers like Fairlina. Everyone knows about that, and on the U everything is more. There are no streamer servers. First off, for what I know, there's no server with 90 or 89%. What is it? No, it's 98% Horde on your server, right?
Yeah.
Everything seems a little bit more balanced.
I wonder, is there a reason for that, or is that just happenstance?
Higher intelligence, probably.
Higher intelligence, yeah, maybe.
Generally, just less streamers on EU, and there are definitely a few, but I don't even know on which server they play, and they didn't bunch up on one server. So I think it's basically because we have less streamers, and I don't know, man. It just seems more balanced overall, and I kind of like that. I mean, you guys always talk about server imbalances, and then you have the Faralina where you don't want to play, and then you have the Herod server. And there's, in my opinion, there's one server I know on EU, and that's Mokrane, because I played on it before we transferred, and it's known because it's like the server where World First 60.
Joker.
Yeah, he played on that. So that server is a little bit known. But even that one is kind of balanced toward Alliance. I think it's basically 50-50. At least it was like that when we left there.
So what's that? Luciferon is like 99% Horde, apparently.
Oh, it might be. Yeah. That's the German server, I see. Yeah. The thing is, I only know about the English servers, and even the English ones. There was Flamelash, obviously, and that one died. But that's the only story I know about.
That's actually an interesting discussion. Like, people have brought up lots of solutions for server imbalance. Like, do you guys have any off the top of your head? Like, how would you solve a 99 to 1% server?
So the one thing that I really want to see, come TBC, and I'm sure, you're a fan of this as well, right? You want to transfer your character over. Obviously, you hit rank 14. I'm sure you wouldn't want to start all over again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I want to do the grind over and over again.
What I would like to see, basically, is, where you would transfer your character so say you're on Faralina, right? And we're on Skyrim. So you would transfer your character to a new TBC server. So the servers themselves wouldn't really, upgrade to TBC. They would basically, either turn into something different, because they're probably going to have still a couple of classic servers, right? So what they would do is have them able to transfer to a new TBC server. And on that server, first of all, I think they need to make way more servers than they had in vanilla, right? So, and this is something that Melderon and I was trying to tell all the devs at the beginning of the time. We're like, you guys need more servers, right? So they do that.
Yep.
I think lower the cap on them, right? So lower the caps to where layering wouldn't have to be that much of an issue. Lower them down to where maybe max 5,000, 4,000, whatever. This is but at the same time, if it starts to go, to where, starting to go skewed, way more Horde to Alliance, you automatically just stop having Alliance to that server, or Horde to that server, and say, okay, this server now is capped for Horde, then only Alliance can go there, and then at one point it caps off, and then so basically you have not a queue, but a gate. So if it gets to a point where there's more than a 20% difference or 25% difference, that faction is closed off on that server, and you would have to be forced to go to another server. So something like that.
Yeah, I think also transfers just make the problem worse, because if a server, from what I saw, I'm not too learned on the subject, but from what I've read, what seems to happen if a server starts to get imbalanced, if you start getting at that 60-40, 70-30 range, and you have transfers open to and fro the server, it doesn't even out. It becomes worse. The outnumbered players just get frustrated, and they transfer it to a server that favors their numbers. So certainly, I think, especially for BC, since we might have fresh servers, like you said, they should introduce some limiting factors on transferring, I think.
Just to piggyback off that, I was going to talk about that a bit later, but now that we're on it, maybe we can stay focused on it. We've all been through Classic, where we've been playing actively since the start, as the people in the chat, and we've all learned a bunch of lessons from Classic. Hopefully Blizzard's learned a bunch of lessons, and I think some of the no changes crowd, some of that position might have softened a little bit, maybe not. There are not all changes are created equal. So on that note, moving into TBC, now that we've gone through Classic, what lessons can we take from Classic moving into TBC? If we can identify some of the problems maybe Classic had, or what are your thoughts there? Would you see any changes, any selfish wish list things moving into TBC?
Well, I think I have the perfect answer for that in regards to no changes. The fact that we've had no changes with some things have resulted in drastic changes from the original. Just look at world buffs. I mean, I'm not sure about your guys' server, but no one on Khadgar, that's my launch server, ever did world buffs. I mean, like, if we knew that a Nixie was going to drop, okay, well, let's stop by, if we have a head, let's stop by Stormwind and let's grab that before we start a raid night. But, you know, we didn't have summons to DMT. Hardly anybody got DMT. I remember my GM getting DMT once, just one person. We didn't know about War Chief's Blessing. We didn't know about Songflower. So, I mean, technically the game released with no changes in regards to world buffs, but it's hugely changed. The whole meta for raiding right now for many guilds is just to gather up all these world buffs, raid log, and just blow through these raids in 20 minutes. And of course, that's also due to our increased skill and knowledge, but, you know, it's exacerbated by world buffs.
It's a great point,
so,
man. That's possibly like the proof of concept that the community would need if we wanted to course correct, though, because a lot of people were just scared of Blizzard scuffing it, right? You give them an inch and they might take a mile and go, okay, you're saying that we can just try to use our own proprietary blend of Blizzard magic to recreate the old spirit of the game as opposed to the actual game? Like, all right. And like people were maybe worried. But now that we've seen one iteration of the game play out, I think that, you know, if there were to be any changes, people wouldn't maybe be as opposed.
It's definitely not as intense from launch. The no changes crowd was super intense, and I wasn't like fully no changes, but just, you know, I can tell you is just from the feedback of my videos, it's nowhere near as it was on launch. Like on launch, people were going crazy about blob shadows. So
I
haven't seen anything about that lately.
Like, it didn't need to be, but I think it was. People were so worried that, you know, they didn't have the faith that they had, and people were just really worried that
that's understandable.
Really bad was going to happen. I'm sorry, Melderon.
I'm just saying, like, you know, we've been vindicated in the fact that the game has come out, right? That was the whole point of this movement, was to get this game to be released in its original state, and it has been somewhat, and we'll get into that when we talk about the Blue Post. But now is the time when TBC is coming out to think about how we can alter the game in a way that's more healthy for the average player, or for most players, I should say, most players. You know, I put that video out before the game was launched. I think world buffs are terrible, and I think they should be taken out of the game 100%. At least when you zone into a raid. That was my suggestion. And because it just, you know, first of all, it causes people to spurg out because they lose them, right? It causes this horrible world buff effect, which means if one person gets them, now your tank has to get them, now other DPS is going to get them. Like, it's pervasive.
That's what I'm doing right now.
So am I, bro. So am I. And the thing is, it's like, you know, the third thing is, it literally totally underplays the PvE content. You don't see mechanics sometimes at all. You don't see certain phases, and it's all because of world buffs. So I think
the creeping around it too.
Is there any part of you that finds it fun though in a raid?
Zero.
It's fun when you can pump out really big numbers a little bit, but if everyone's
but if they're not there, then the big numbers are those big numbers. Do you know what I'm saying? It's an inflation. It's an inflation.
I wanted to say that. I don't think anyone generally likes it. If you just remove it, then indeed you can parse still, but just without world buffs, and everyone has an equal playing field basically. But to go on what Kargoz said, what do we want changed from Classic, or what did we learn? I think one thing that we need is smaller servers, because TBC is a smaller world.
Absolutely.
And I think the servers were way too big now, so I don't think we can go with these big servers to TBC. I think that would be a giant miss.
I think that's a really good point, and I think we're going to see. I don't want to see layering like it was again. You know, there's so many different issues with layering. I think, whether you had people swapping layers and this and the other, and I think, if you were to drop the caps down, have more servers, and it's really interesting too, because there's so many. I don't understand like what the limitations are. We see it all the time. We're in Melderon and I getting buffs, and Orgrimmar's packed, right? And it's like, the server's lagging horribly, and like, okay, why not just lower that number down? Why not cut that? It's so much better for the community as well, having these smaller knit communities. I think it's so much better for the feel of the game.
Yeah.
We wanted smaller servers
plays.
before Classic came out. Remember Defcamp?
Absolutely,
we were screaming
yeah.
at the top of their lungs of that. There's some weird stuff we were kind of wrong about though, or maybe not wrong, but for me, like I thought layering was going to be the end of times, and it ended up.
Yeah, I remember you were really upset about that.
It wasn't the end of times. For me,
Yeah,
multi-boxing
yeah.
is the end of times, and it still continues to be the end of times, even if it's a small percent, bro. It kills me inside MadSeason. I don't know, man. Something is wrong with me, dude. I hate multi-boxing, bro. It's like.
Why
Why did they allow it? I don't understand.
That's another thing that no changes resulted in more changes. Like technically, multi-boxing was allowed back then, but I don't know. Do you guys ever remember seeing multi-boxers? The first one I saw
very
was
rarely.
It's
Not
just,
in vanilla. I only saw them in TBC the first time.
At this point, Mad, when I make a guide, like because I'm making TBC guides now and getting excited about that, I basically have to like forget that multi-boxing exists to make a guide. Like, and I'm like, yay, I get to make a guide, do research, like, like it's going to be awesome. And then, so, I don't know. So for me, I guess where I was going with this, going into TBC, here's what I would want to flirt with the idea of. I'm not saying I'm like hard charging this or bust, but the private servers on for TBC right now, they pretty much have content that's 2.5x as hard. And there's no doubt that Blizzard learned from Nostalrius. They learned from these classic private servers, right? To see how they pulled it off, to see what the demand would look like. So Blizzard should probably keep eyes on these TBC servers and go,
absolutely.
What would that look like? What if we buffed the content a bit? Is there a case study that we could look to? Would it break everything? And you can look at some of these private servers and go, hey, nothing's really broken. I mean, people are clearing the raids. It's a bit harder. So that's one thing I'm flirting with the idea of. Maybe Blizzard just scales up the difficulty to increase the length of the content, and it's more challenging for people. That would be my main thing. And the other thing would be faction queue. That was to this day the number one suggestion I've ever heard for the server imbalance. People are saying in TBC it's going to be even worse, the faction imbalance, because of horde ratios versus alliance ratios, so on and so forth. And looking back at Classic, at least with our server, right, Defcamp Scarum, those waves of server transfers, even if they were open for just a day, that's all it takes to pretty much set the server up for failure.
Absolutely,
learned that, right?
Just one day, So on that first point, Kargoz, I think, especially if we get TBC and 2.4.3, I think we're going to have to buff the content a little bit, right? Because, like, if you all guys remember when TBC first came out, do you remember the gear that was in Kara? It was horrible. It was like blue, like shit gear, and it was like legit just dog shit. And at one point, Kara got retuned, and it was almost Kara became kind of like a catch-up raid, right? Because a lot of the gear was really good, and all the off-tier gear and all that kind of shit was horrible. And that being said, right, then we have the issues with the talents, right? So the talents are going to be in their 2.4.3 state. Obviously, if Blizzard really wanted to, apparently they have the information for TBC. But listen, they're not going to do that, right? So because it's going to be more time, more money. So if we go with the 2.4.3 build, I mean, why not? Have a little bit more, armor, have a little bit more HP. I don't want to like. I like how the raids are on private servers. I like them being a little bit, more difficult. And it's not like there's adding mechanics or they're, adding like it's not like
they do happen more often though, the mechanics.
Yeah, some of the mechanics happen more often, but they're not adding. So it's not like the fight's going to change a whole lot. But I mean, we see it in vanilla, dude. Like people, make the content. Like Cthulhu was such a joke to what I thought it was going to be. So yeah, I would be all for that, and I think it'd have to be carefully done, right? You don't want to mess anything up too bad, but I don't know. I think Blizzard has a really big. They could make a really big change here from private servers by potentially allowing the game to release in its 2.1 and going further like that.
Yeah. So what Defcamp said, you actually made two great points, I think. But if they go with the latest version, you say they shouldn't overbuff it or underbuff it or basically fuck the game up. I think if private servers can do it, definitely Blizzard can do it better.
Yeah.
So that shouldn't be a problem. But in my opinion, both the options you gave are good. Either they go with the latest version and buff the content, or they go with each patch by patch, like I actually hope they would have done for Classic. If you remember.
Dude, I always loved that, bro. That was always your biggest fantasy, having the patch by patch. Yeah.
So you're gonna give that necklace the 1.1 necklace.
Yeah. If they do that for TBC, that would be awesome. And if they ever wanna recycle Classic, please consider that. They probably will not do it, but if you don't do it, then please buff the content a little bit. It's It's either one of those options for me.
So
I
They have
wouldn't
the
like
information, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't like to have the latest version without the buffs, and we just have the same, probably a little bit harder than classic, but still the same easy content we have now.
What would be the downsides of buffing the content in TBC? One thing that comes to mind right off the bat is I think to myself, Arena is a big game changer. Even when I get into my Doomer multi-boxing is the end of the world mindset, there's a light, at the end of the tunnel that I see, and I go, oh, Arena, there's no multi-boxers in Arena. Maybe there will be, but, not really at the high levels.
It may be 5s.
So Arena's there. You could say, what's the problem with the world being just regular difficulty? You still have Arena if you want the ultimate challenge and all that, but... would there be, who's going to grab their pitchforks if they buff, let's say, all the mobs and bosses by, I don't know, 50% or something?
I don't think anyone will, because Kargoz, honestly, the people who would even know about it. So this is the way I look at the world. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like casuals, truly casual players. We can all say what that means, but I mean, truly casual players don't even keep up to date with news. They probably wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
I thought of something though. You know why it would be maybe bad though, Melderon, is because if you look, so TBC has massive amount of raids in it, right? Even right off the jump. Yeah. So imagine if everything was much harder and the fights are 10-15 minutes long, on some of the bosses. To actually clear all the content every week as a raid, imagine taking your raid through, you would have to raid probably 4 days a week.
Well, not really.
To get through all of it.
TBC, if I remember correctly, you only have to rate the raid you're on.
Well,
I'm not entirely sure. It's not the same thing as in Classic. In Classic, you keep running multi-core. In TBC, it isn't like that.
I mean, most people are going to run Kara, depending on the gear set we get. But, and a lot of it does, imagine this, Kargoz. So a lot of it does depend on, if we're going to get the 2.4, the 2.4.3 version of the game, it's going to be, very, but think about this. If we get obviously it's a lot more money, a lot more time for them to do it. But if we get the 2.1 version with the talents and the itemization, that means the meta every season in Arena is going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And it also
really good for the game.
It's going to be so awesome. Good for the game. Exactly.
Yep.
And not to mention, it's so different from private servers. So no one in the right mind who would want to play private servers versus Blizzard when you have an actual life, the game is alive, it's changing as it goes on. I think I know it. I know Blizzard has a lot of stuff going on right now. They have people leaving. Mike Morhaime made his fucking company and stuff like that. But if they just put a little bit of time and energy into this, into potentially having a 2.1 launch, 2.0 launch, into having the itemization and the talents and everything that way, I think that would solve a lot of issues.
I think you lose a lot of polish, though, man. I disagree with that, too. Just mainly because Blizzard takes pride in its polish, right? They want to... That's what they try to do. So, for them, even if one new player out of the millions of people who play TBC open their bags and they see an item changed in their bag somewhat arbitrarily, they're going to be like, yeah, we can't do that. We can't just switch up how the items are.
You have to realize it's not... These patches aren't built to be it's one building upon each other. The reason patches happen is because things are not right? So they look at it as an incomplete version of the game. So
I understand. You
know what I mean? That's my issue with doing patch.
I mean, I would say the bugs are one thing.
Though.
Yeah.
I would say that 2.4.3 is more balanced than 2.1.
Yeah, probably.
Right?
But we talked about balance in the past, and I think we agreed that balance isn't that important for an MMO like WoW. So why don't we go with a few months of 2.1, which is probably a little bit less balanced? It's still cool to be in that 2.1 phase and be good at in that phase specifically, even knowing that you will be bad later. It's still cool to have your moment in the sun. So I don't think balance is the real answer here. So I don't really see that as a problem, honestly.
What do you think, MadSeasons?
I think Seasons. I said with I'm gonna change my channel name. But no, I think I sided with Defcamp. I mean, both sides bring up good points, but I sided with Defcamp and Dunedain here. I think really one of the biggest enemies of Classic in general is that stagnation. I mean, even before release, the big question is what happens after Naxxramas. So I look at anything that combats that stagnation through progressive patches and whatnot as being good for the game and just overall more healthy, even though it might be more imbalanced or there might be. I'm not saying like bring back game bugs and stuff. I'm not sure.
Right.
Because itemization is
that.
different from like the class balance nerfs and stuff. Because Blizzard flip flopped a bunch of stuff with the actual class mechanics. But yeah, the itemization. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, and BC's like that's a big PvP expansion. That's a PvP system that doesn't require 8 hours a day, 8 to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week to grind. So, I mean, PvPers, I think, will I don't know. I can't speak for everyone. It's hard to say really, but I think they would in general look forward to maybe just the meta changing over time instead of the meta from release to finish whenever they release Sunwell is this, right?
Right.
My gut, man, is that most people who play WoW like PvE and like raiding the most, and when they view an expansion, they talk about an iteration of the game, they're always just kind of viewing it through the lens of raid balance, the gear, the tier sets, all that type of stuff. People light up like a kobold with a candlestick when they're talking about raiding and all this, right? And I think there's like a marketing play here for Blizzard where they go, listen up, gamers, you sweaty gamers, like we're gonna remember TBC, remember the burning crusade with Illidan there with the skull and all that, like we're gonna give you TBC, but we're gonna crank up the difficulty on TBC. Like, are you prepared? Are you ready? Like, it's almost that Illidan, you know, as it currently stands right now, you know, he jumps up in the sky and he's like, you know, you're not prepared. It's almost not a meme, but like, do you really take that to heart? Like, you might feel like you're not prepared if they crank up the difficulty and we don't even know what they're doing, you know, like there could be a play there, you know, to reinvigorate the people to
yeah, exactly. And how about this as a good middle ground, since we're pretty agreed it might be pretty split. How about they just release servers with 2 different rule sets? Maybe you have one that's more kind of like classic vanilla, where it's
there you go.
Final patch talents, final patch raid tier, but you give the option, okay, you know, you guys, you want more challenging raids, or maybe you want more progressive patches. Here's a server or 2 for you, and you just let the player choose. The issue with that is it would just require more work, obviously, so it's not as easy as just waving a magic wand. But I think one of the issues with Classic, as far as I understand, is they didn't have the data for all of these patches, so that was a huge hurdle. But I believe I'm not for sure, but I don't think that's the case with BC. I think they actually have like
they do,
BC data.
yeah. They have everything, but I keep on asking myself like, and I like the idea of having an option, right? Because like I always ask myself like, are we all drinking the same Kool-Aid? Because you know there are people right now that a lot of people that I heard from still haven't got Twin M's down. I had a buddy who didn't even get Rag down, you know, and like obviously they're not the majority, but there are people out there that don't have the time commit, because you know Classic WoW, the number one thing is the time commitment, right? Like you will benefit from putting time into the game, whether it's putting time into world buffs, whether it's putting time into getting, you know, consumables, this, that, and the other. That's what it is. A lot of people who don't have that time don't get the, you know, the same kill timers that we get and shit like that. So that's why I always say to myself, like, are we all drinking the same Kool-Aid? And,
are we insatiable? Are we
exactly.
insatiable? Like, are we insatiable? Like we're clearing the content. That's still somehow not good enough for us. We want to do it faster. We want it to be harder. Are we insatiable? I don't know. I ask myself that as well. And here's what I hear. And again, like, it's been so long since I played TBC. And I don't know if you guys are in the same boat, but I hear that TBC takes more time than Classic. It's more.
Yeah, it's more grindy.
Yeah, the rep grinds.
Yeah.
They're huge. The attunement chain. Have you ever seen the flow chart for attuning to raids in BC? It's insane.
Like the Matrix. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we're cranking up the difficulty on something that's already more of a time sink, but at the same time, it's more content too. Like, you know, it's a stagnation. You're talking about MadSeason. Maybe there's so much content, it's so hard that you literally can't clear everything in a week. And like, you just have to kind of pick and choose. I don't know.
It's not necessarily bad. So, I saw some people in the chat say heroic raids could solve the problem, or like MadSeason said, 2 versions, but I'm not entirely sure. I never really liked the two difficulty levels. So heroic raids for me wouldn't make it. I mean, it wouldn't feel right. I'd rather kill Illidan on one difficulty mode, and preferably the hard one.
Yeah, it's like go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say they can silently buff the game, right? They don't have to tell us they're doing it. Just another thing.
True.
Yeah, sneaky.
I feel like Melderon's throwing out some.
No. I mean, that's how I would do it. I would just buff the game, not say the goddamn word. You know what I mean? Like,
I love that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
J. Allen Brack just hits the dial and just cranks it up. I imagine he's a
Yeah.
lever in the Blizzard headquarters, and he's just like
envisioning, the nuclear silo buttons. Like 2 keys have to be turned, and like
Yo, imagine you walk up to the first boss, and
they're just like
everybody gets their Priebus, right? You walk into Karazhan, you walk up to what is his name, Attila the Hun, the first guy in the with the horse, and he just globals the tank. Tank just gets popped. And they're like, "What? You guys suck! Like you can't clear Kara? I don't know."
Yeah.
So maybe a bit spicy, but one direction they could go is go probably with the 2.4.3 patch and actively make changes. So you have a changing meta. But that would be no change. That would be changes instead of no changes. I know
which just happened for Dunedain, which is crazy, right? It just happened.
But I mean, even more changes. This is like a bug fix, right? But actively change things if they seem to be imbalanced. I don't know if people want that actually, but I wouldn't have liked it for Classic. But now we had Classic. I wouldn't mind if they ever bring Classic out again, that they do it that way. They nerf warriors a bit, and then
I think you make a good point though, Dunedain, about saying imbalance isn't 100% necessary in an MMO. Like we had, was it John Stats or Kevin Jordan saying that? I think it was Kevin Jordan because he went in, he was designing all these abilities, right, Matt? And the cool thing here, guys, you have to remember is like we'll potentially have 3 versions of the game we can play, right? We're going to have Classic in some capacity, we'll have TBC, and we'll have Retail. So if things aren't perfectly balanced, people back in the day used to cry and be like, "Yo, this game is so scuffed. Like my class can't perform. This is such bullshit. Like, I'm so weak compared to these other classes." Well, there's different strokes for different folks here now, so it's not like maybe as important as it was for everything to be perfectly sterile and homogenous and balanced out. So
actually I'll talk about this for a second. I actually have a video about this. This is something I'm well acquainted with. I think that's one of the issues with the current game is things are so overbalanced, which I think is really, really bad for RPGs in general. Just look at the damage scaling. Do you guys know about that in BFA?
Oh yeah, dude. Oh my god.
You do like so much damage that it breaks the game or something?
It's your item level. It's go ahead, explain it. Yeah.
Well, basically, if you're attacking somebody with a lower item level, your damage is lowered, but only on their screen. So on your screen, you'll do 50,000 damage. Their screen, they take 25,000.
Yep.
And it's done in an effort to make it more balanced and to make it more fair for the lower tiered player. Yeah. And it's just like, I mean, it's one of the reasons why we have 4 stats in current as well.
Yeah.
4 stats? Anybody can battle res if they're engineer. Yeah, you have critical strike, mastery, haste, and versatility.
Yep. What about like stamina and all that? Stamina and that stuff doesn't count anymore?
Yeah, those are primaries.
Oh, I see. Okay, secondaries.
I should have said secondaries. Yeah.
That's balancing gone wild.
Yeah.
Balancing gone wild. Seriously, it's like at the point where balancing has become it's like, looking at a game designer point of view, right? It's like, okay, we got to balance it, and it's just like gotten to the point where the machines have like taken over, and now it's like they're doing like a mind of their own. It's gotten out of hand. It's definitely gotten out of hand.
Can I say another point? Oh, sorry, man. I just realized.
No, I'm done. I just think that would be horrible to like try to have that for DBC.
Yeah, one thing on that, I noticed on the Shadowlands beta that it's still the same. You still have that primary, secondary thing.
Yep.
So,
Well, I was just going to say, I know you didn't play any private servers, or maybe you did MadSeason, but Melderon, Defcamp, Dunedain, we all played on something, or maybe are still playing or whatever. Every single private server fresh, and even just real classic fresh, there's always new technology and new strategies that emerge from the woodwork that kind of scuff the leveling or like really accelerate the content massively. If you were to look at classic, it was the whole 10-man dungeon boosting, it was the cleaving, the cleave groups, and then eventually we're at the stage where we have this one pull mage meta, the reset spots in dungeons. All I would say is like Blizzard, button it up for that. Like prepare for some weird funky tech to come out for BC to potentially like sidestep a bunch of content, like because it will happen, man. It will happen. People will get into that beta and they will not destroy the game, but they will find every loophole. They will find everything.
Oh, Melderon found something. Did he tell you about what he found? He had to. We notified. Well, remember Melderon, what you found out?
There's a leveling exploit that came to my attention through a fan, and then I sent it ahead. And I think I don't know if it's going to be rectified or not, but if it's not, it could be drastic for the leveling process.
The Kargoz literally like game breaking. Like
going
it wasn't me.
Like,
I didn't find this out.
No.
A fan figured this out.
Is it ZG?
Yeah.
But
So
literally going 10 levels
in
like couple hours.
Oh
like,
shit!
Probably.
Well, some people are already making preparations to do TBC grind in ZG. How weird is that? They're literally just gonna spam ZG.
It's sad. It's sad, bro.
Like, this is the type of stuff I'm telling you about, though. Like, you know, like if I was Blizzard, maybe make the dungeon values a bit lower. I don't know. Just try to have the world defend itself a little bit.
That's why time gating is going to be so important. You guys are all on board for time gating here, right?
You mean the raids?
So yes, because TBC raids were out. Like Black Temple and all. Well, not Black Temple. Sorry, SSC, the Eye. Oh, they were all available at launch. You just had to get attuned to it, right? And the problem is nowadays people are going to get the max level really quick, get attuned really quick, and be able to do those raids very, very quickly. So I think we should time gate. Have just Kara out first, and then time gate the rest of the raids. That way,
100%, yeah.
Well, we don't have to worry about that happening. So are you guys
on if they bring it out buffed or not? If they bring it out in the final state without any buffs, then definitely time gate it. If they don't, then they can bring it out altogether.
Yeah, that's a tricky one. Because if you're saying if all the raids are released, some of the raids could just get totally looked over because maybe some of the gear. If you could just basically skip through Kara and some of the early raids, and maybe you would have no reason to run it later, so you would extend the content by.
I mean, Kargoz, imagine people within the third week already have being almost ready to go into fucking Black Temple. Like that's just.
Yo, that might happen in like 2 weeks or less, bro.
If it's a buffed Black Temple, that's not possible. So
what I'm saying is almost ready to go in. Like I have the SSC and the Eye, like get everything out of there that they already fucking had, and like going in, getting ready to have. That's what I'm saying. It's like I think we need to time gate the raids on there. So like like when the game is released, only have maybe Karazhan and Gruul's Lair available to do at first. You know what I mean? And then within a couple months, I don't know, but I think that there definitely has to be some kind of time gate. I'm not saying I have the answer for what the time gating should be. I'm just saying that there definitely needs to be, in my opinion, because the way that it worked back in TBC, people didn't get to that content until way later. But it's not going to be that way now.
Honestly, I'd rather have buffed content, which is not time gated, than unbuffed time gated easy content.
True.
But even if it is buffed Dunedain, it's not going to be buffed enough.
Then it can still be time gated.
Right, but I see your point, but I'm worried that even if it is buffed, it's not going to be buffed enough to the point where it's going to change that much. Because there's still going to be people who know exactly what they have to do to get there.
Because if they're coming from private servers, they're already going to know how to do it in a hard mode anyway.
And there's going to be 4 guilds on the server that have crazy gear while everyone else doesn't, and that's going to make it even worse, right?
I understand that. I just don't want Blizzard to think, we can time gate it and then it's fixed. An easy solution.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. No.
It should be it's a tricky one because I was initially of the camp of release the raids as they are. So you have Gruul's, Serpent Shrine, Karazhan, of course, and
the Eye.
Hyjal too, right?
Magtheridon.
Hyjal was
because
out
I think. It was
Hyjal, Hyjal, Magtheridon. But obviously they're all.
Go ahead, MadSeason. Yeah, finish what you're saying.
Because I thought that I don't know, and maybe I'm underestimating the player base, but if we're talking pre-nerf, we're talking the buffed versions, I would have thought that people would have run into just gear checks eventually, because I mean the progression is going to be faster certainly than it was in 2004 or 2007. Sorry, but. I don't know, they're just like, I kind of like the idea of all these raids being out and actually having progression again, because, I don't know, between the attunements and reputations and everything, and just certain bosses just destroying people because you're in Karazhan gear, I don't really foresee the player base being able to just speed through it week 1, week 2, week 3. I don't know, maybe it might take a couple of months, but I don't know, at the same time as well, like I said, you might be underestimating the player base. We certainly did that with, and it could be a situation where they just speed through it. And it's hard to tell.
I think what's going to happen, honestly, MadSeason is it's going, if they do it that way, there is, like, it's going to be everyone's going to feel such a pressure to do all that at once, right? It's going to be like just how like world buffs got normalized, right? Just how
think how hype that would be, though.
But
what a race that would be. That would be crazy.
Like, okay,
but only for like a couple weeks.
Exactly, a couple weeks, and after that, okay, what do we do now? We're sitting on our fucking hands. Like, that's the issue, right? It's like everyone's going to rush to do this, and then the same thing's going to happen, which happened in vanilla. Everyone's going to get fucking what's the word? When we get burnout, everyone's going to get burnout, and it's going to. That's why I think it might be cool, and I think it'll get normalized just the same way world buffs did, and I think it worked really well back in TVC when it first came out because it was all new. Everything was new. Everyone was still new to the game. It was still fresh, and people still sucked for the most part. You know what I mean? And people were getting better and this, that, and other, but it took a good amount of time, and there's going to be guilds out there, and the thing is, everyone watches, streaming and this, that, and the other, and they see the top end guilds doing it, and they think that's the norm. So everyone attempts to do that. Everyone tries to do that. And in the most part, everyone will do that. And then we're going to have this issue with everyone finish all this content in like 1 to 2 months, and people are going to be bored or they're going to burn out, and it's going to just be really bad, I think, overall for the longevity of the game.
Yeah, and that could be something that they iron out in beta testing too. They kind of test it, maybe they release it with all the raids, and if they see the power gamers just speed through it, they say, oh, okay, well maybe this is too fast. Maybe we should just we should time gate the raids. That could be a possible solution to that, or again, maybe just having servers of different rule sets.
Yeah. It's a possibility.
Here's the thing, too. Just other things to keep in consideration. There's not really like a huge takeaway here. But if we look at Classic as a precedent, we see servers like Faralina, right? Scarum, Herod, some of the kind of sweaty PvP servers. People went to the 9 millionth degree of try hard, to get it all done. But at the same time, we also have some PvE servers. I'm playing on one right now, and it was my first time ever playing on both a PvE or an RP server. And you have people like Taladrill, who was playing on that other PvE server, I think it was Atiesh or something, and they would report back. We would meet up as a group and talk about content and stuff, right, Matt? And we'd be like, oh my god, like complaining about this and that, and Taladrill's over there like, actually, it's pretty chill on my server. Like, that doesn't happen here on this PvE server. Like a lot of what you're saying doesn't even apply to us at all. And I guess what I'm saying is that some people who get really turned off by that, and if we're just par for the course and Blizzard just rolls it out kind of exactly how they did with Classic, you should really consider maybe playing a PvE or an RP type of server, because it might be a better change of pace for you. And some people might have gotten a bad taste in their mouth when it came to World PvP. And just the whole the whole meta of gaming in 2020. I said this on stream the other day. I thought it was somewhat big brain. The whole idea that back in the day when we were kids playing, you couldn't talk to the Alliance or you couldn't talk to the Horde, right? So you kind of built up this like faction pride and all this almost animosity towards the other faction. But in 2020, we all have Discord, and the factions are kind of not like they once were, right? So it's almost I don't know. I see I'm going with this. Play PvE, maybe play RP, and some people regretted going PvP. I kind of regretted going PvP as a streamer. I don't know. PvP server to start.
Well, I will say on that point, like, I hope all the streamers are ready for BC, because if they thought stream sniping was bad in Classic, just wait till everybody has flying mounts in a world size that's about 1/10 the size of Classic. It's going to be a bloodbath. Yep, I think a lot of streamers are actually going to go PvE because it's just going to be too much. Like, anybody can see where you are and get there within 1 minute. Unlike Classic, where it can take a while to get there. If you're on Kalimdor, it can take people 10-20 minutes to get to you, and you can kind of deal with that. I mean, obviously something that only pertains to streamers, but it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure.
100%. Yeah, we should talk about Phase 6. I think a lot of people want to hear about that, and I think we should talk about kind of the changes that happened with Phase 6. That are coming with Phase 6, excuse me, because there's a lot.
You guys have a link to that blue post by chance? I'll throw it up on the stream if anybody can find it.
Give me a second. I'm also getting a buff right now.
Okay, I'll find it. Just kick it off.
Wait, what buff's going out? What the fuck? Oh, okay. I thought it was a car.
It is. 340 is a car.
Oh, it is? Oh, shit. Okay.
Maybe we should start with... it's an early announcement, right? Was it expected to be this early?
It goes in line with what Nano said in his leak. So it's I wouldn't consider it early. It's early compared to the vanilla timeline, yes, Dunedain, you're right, 100%. Because I think Cthulhu was unkillable for what, 3 months, something like that. And there's also still no which another scary thing is that there's no there's no what the hell am I trying to say? I just lost my train of thought. Sorry. It'll come back. It'll come back. Yeah, there's still servers that don't have the gates open. That's what it is.
Exactly.
They're forcing them open though.
The thing is, for example, I'm looking still for the scepter of what's it called? Defcamp. You got the
False Prophet.
Scepter. Yeah. False Prophet. It never even dropped yet, and now they talk about Naxx. So it's on the one hand, it's kind of early. On the other hand, AQ isn't the most exciting thing ever, and many people in the guild think the same way. So having Naxx by end of November, beginning of December, I would really like that, honestly. So for me, it's good news, basically.
Yeah,
we were talking about that. You called that, Melderon. You're saying Naxx by Christmas. I remember you said that months ago. Mm-hmm. It's looking like that'll be the case, right? Sorry, but go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like December is going to be the case, which makes sense, right? December, even if it's January, cold raid, ice monsters, cold. Yep. It makes sense. It's thematically, it makes sense. But the biggest thing, so Phase 6 is going to be coming. The Blue Post is on. I mean, so basically the Argent Dawn catch-up pieces, quote unquote, will be available.
Yeah.
With the Scourge Invasion and with the insignias of the Dawn and stuff like that, where you can turn in the writs, and then the writs turn in the insignias, and the insignias can be turned in for gear or the supply bag. That's pretty cool. Obviously, Naxx will be available. They're only doing testing on Naxx in certain periods, though. They didn't say when either. So Naxx is not available in the PTR until they say it's available, which is interesting.
It's pretty cool, actually. It's a good way to tackle the private server, testing it over and over and over, so you can one-shot everything when it actually releases. I think that would be a cool thing for new content as well on retail. I don't know how they do it actually on retail, but this would be nice.
Yeah, I think that's good because didn't they skip testing AQ? Yep. Was that the case?
They did.
That resulted in Cthulhu being... I mean, people are going to go just tear through that raid anyways, but Cthulhu was bugged on release. And, Naxxramas is, although they're still pretty basic compared to current today, that's where you actually start seeing mechanics and more chance for bosses to just be completely broken. So there's been a lot of controversy with raid testing, but I think it's a good call considering Naxxramas is a little bit more complicated. And I think it's a good middle ground to limit it to specific times so, people just don't get to practice and completely just blow through it on release.
What do you guys think? Is this the one?
I think it's gonna be blown through either way, man. I really do.
Yeah.
People say Naxx is so hard, right? Well, people were saying that. So you think it's still gonna be pretty easy, Defcamp?
Here's the thing, right? Going off of what I thought Cthulhu was going to be like, and everyone's saying, yeah, Cthulhu's similar to a lot of bosses in Naxx. I think, Four Horsemen's going to be a little bit of a rough time, on the first week or whatever. But I think, we're going to clear it probably in our first week, no problem. I think most, hardcore guilds are. And I think what's going to happen is, people are going to clear it, and they're going to get fucking, bored pretty quick, and then everyone's going to be waiting for TBC to come out. And, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be what I thought and what everyone thought it was going to be before the game came out. Naxx being this thing that only 1% of fucking people did, and it's So
someone said something to me crazy, which is crazy when you think about it. They said, "Imagine Naxx being easier than Wrath Naxx," and I was like, "Wow!" I think that's going to be what it is. And I don't know. It may not be, but I think. I think it will. I think it has the potential to be easier than Wrath Naxx.
Wow.
Why do you say that?
Because of the damage output, number one, world buffs, the meta, the understanding of the game. I think Patchwork's going to go down in 30 seconds. Yep. I think you're going to see Hagen go down in less than a minute. You're going to see Sephiron go down very quickly. You're the only check in there.
What about Dance Dance Revolution boss?
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree.
Would you say that, Kargoz? You got cut off.
Dance Dance Revolution boss?
Dude, he's gonna die he's gonna dance once and die. Yeah.
Even hard bosses that were hard back in the day due to class composition. 4 Horsemen, you wanted 8 tanks was the meta. I don't know about your guys' raids, but do you see a shortage of Fury Warriors right now that can serve as an off tank? So there's
nope.
We're pretty lucky. We're pretty lucky. We have a really good officer corps. Warrior corps that's prepared to tank.
Yeah, mine too. Like we're 50% Fury Warriors. I think most guilds are like that. So I think it's. I mean, I don't want it to be easy, but I think realistically, it's probably going to be kind of the same as AQ. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I do too. And it's just that doesn't mean it's going to be easy for everyone. I think we always get into the trap. We talk about ourselves, and we don't realize that we're very lucky people. Like, I'm in a very, very good guild. Our guild is very, very good. Yours, MadSeason, I'm sure, as well. Dunedain's as well. Like, we all play the game at a pretty high level, and I think a lot of people do not, though. And or they maybe it's not that they don't. They just don't have the talent pool, And people are going to say you don't need talent to play Classic. That's
I
whatever.
Not necessarily talent too, but most people probably don't get world buffs, Melderon. It's kind of a pain in the ass to get world buffs. I'm saying, like, you think
I think everybody gets them, bro.
You really do.
Everyone gets. Not everyone gets all of them.
Yeah.
But
maybe. But like, look how many people stare at the Songflower every day.
Yeah, I was gonna say most people get. For Horde, at least, like Rend, Ani, ZG, Songflower.
Do they though?
Maybe not everyone gets Dire Maul tribute.
Dude, the only people who don't get Dire Maul are healers. Everyone else.
What percentage of raids though don't report to like Warcraft logs though? Maybe Warcraft logs is only like 20% of all the raids out there, and there's mad people that are just just like
every recruit every single recruit I've ever gotten has a Warcraft logs.
Even the guilds that we were talking to, the guys who weren't even like really clear in rag and stuff like that, they were still getting world buffs.
And you're saying that we are all in very good guilds, which I will not deny because it's the case. But I play on a pretty casual server, really, and many guilds clear AQ, and some might wipe a little bit on certain bosses, and some might have problems with visitors. But other than that, people just clear it. So I don't think it's just the high end that thinks it's easy. I think everyone kind of thinks it's easy. Almost everyone.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's kind of the same shit, different toilet type thing, right? Like we've done GMAs for every raid tier now, guys. Like the whole way through Classic, and every time it's the same story. Yo, you guys think it's gonna be hard? You think it's gonna be different? And then it just falls over, right? So I'm looking to the future for TBC, like. If Blizzard has the data, I guess, that look at how many people are getting the world buffs or how easy stuff is, and I just think it makes a stronger case for maybe buffing some of the raids in TBC so that it's not the same shit, different toilet, and maybe it just holds up a little bit longer. But I guess in TBC there's no world buffs, right? You can't bring the world buffs in, so that's
they have the capability to make this hard. Is the only people that can make this more challenging is Blizzard, and it's in their hands. Like no one else can do it. They have to do it if they want to do it, and I think that they have to get the community's pulse on this before they move on to something that's just going to be another steamroll of a game that people are just going to steamroll through.
That being said, though, let me ask all you guys something. Do you almost feel like Blizzard? I don't know. Maybe I'm a little paranoid, but I almost feel like they just want it to come out in this way that Classic did, so that Shadowlands can shine and TBC can be on the back burner. And like I almost feel like they don't want to put that much effort in it because they were kind of forced to do this in the long run. This isn't something they plan on doing. They kind of had their hands tied, and that's just like I had that fear, right? That they're just gonna put it out there in its whatever form, so that people can just play it because they're gonna play it either fucking way. And not do the best they can.
I think they have 10%. I think they have 10% of the budget that they have for retail. I'm just throwing out an arbitrary number. I think they want it to succeed, right? Because it's like different strokes, different folks. But it's probably the type of thing that Classic and TBC monetize so little compared to like everything else in the Blizzard ecosystem, man. Like you look at a game like Hearthstone. You play Hearthstone for like 30 minutes and you're out a couple $100. It feels like, I don't know. Yep. I mean, you play the retail, the new pets, new mount. Like, there's so many ways where they can, get your money in. In Classic, it's just the sub, right? The 15. So they probably have such a small budget for it that, they're just kind of like, they hire like a couple dudes and like, go do TBC, like have fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then you guys think that like that though, like they almost kind of don't want it to do as good as it can.
I don't think they don't want to do it as good as they can. I think if you're in the team of Classic, I think you want it to succeed and you want to do it as best as you can within the means you get.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like they could put a little bit more time and energy into it, because I really do think that Classic brought a lot of people back even into retail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who started playing retail because of Classic, and and I just think that if they would, maybe get a little bit of a bigger team and have because I love the people that work on the team right now, Orlando and those guys. They're really great. They're passionate people, but I just feel like they don't have the they have to answer to their higher ups, right? And their higher ups are the ones that kind of put things to where they go. I have this distinct feeling that they want Shadowlands to succeed and TBC to be kind of like a side thing and not.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they probably want Shadowlands to be the main thing, right? That makes sense.
Oh, of course, yeah.
The retail, current version of the game with, I think you're onto something in the sense, Defcamp. You just have to look at the incentives for them. What's a higher upside for them? Retail, having the bigger player base, has more upside, right? It monetizes better, and there's a future that's potentially infinite, as opposed to TBC. They probably, in their eyes, see this is going to go Classic, TBC, Wrath, and that's about it for the runway of these legacy servers. So. Yeah. The incentive makes sense for them to push Shadowlands as much as possible. So another thing about this patch, I can't find it in here, but did you guys heard about the Hunter buffs, right? It was specifically Hunter, or I think maybe
so it's the first bug fix, Kargoz.
First bug fix. Before I forget, I just want to say one thing. In my mind, is this the first class balance related change?
So
class
I wouldn't call it that, because it was supposed to work this way in vanilla and never did, because they didn't know how to do it.
What about spell batching though? What if they just said the same thing about spell batching?
You could say that, but that's not a class balance thing either, right? Spell batching.
Yeah. Oh yeah, true.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm trying to say is it was supposed to work this way, and it never did in vanilla because of what they said technical limitations of the game. So I don't know. You could argue both ways. It's definitely unprecedented. It's huge, right? This is we're talking 380 attack power when you consider the tier 3 set bonus from Paladins or Shaman. That's huge, right? Because it's Rallying Cry, Fengus' Ferocity, Juju Might, and then the tier 3 set bonus from either Paladin or Shaman, which is 100 and some odd attack power.
You said Oni buff, right? The Hunter get the range attack power.
Oni or Nef, Rallying Cry,
yeah.
Just that buff's going to be huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Hunters are going to destroy. Mm-hmm. I'm already scared. But hasn't that been something they've been so inconsistent about? Is it just me? Just look at the Diamond Flask, something that's obviously a bug, but that's how it was in the original, so we're just going to keep it that way. But now this Hunter bug, which you said was a bug in the original, right? But now they're changing
according to the blue post,
Yeah, so it's just something you can't really predict. I'm happy for Hunters. I'm leveling a Hunter old right now, so hey, it sounds good to me.
Mine just 60. I'm ready. But no, they definitely have been inconsistent about it. There are plenty of things in the past that they said we are not going to fix this because it was like that in Classic, even though it was a bug. I'm thinking Paladin things specifically, but different classes as well. So it's the first time they actively fix something.
It's why now, though?
Yeah, it's so strange. Why now a year later?
To make Nax easier? I don't know. No.
Tinfoil hat. Is it because there's going to be fresh Classic servers? Because why fix it at this point?
I think a dev just plays Hunter. That's it.
Honestly, this would be one of the biggest pieces of evidence that they're going to continue keeping the servers live, because why would they fix this now?
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, I mean, that's just I have no idea, right? This is just something I'm thinking about, but they also fixed a Shaman bug that's been known since forever, but it's okay because it's a 5 DPS increase and no one cares about it. But improved weapon totems is getting fixed finally. But this Hunter change is just so big. It's they literally said we wanted them to be able to benefit from world buffs, but they never did. The way Warriors and Rogues did, but now here you go. Here's this change, and all of a sudden now Hunters are well, I wish I would known this when I first rolled the game, because maybe I wanted to play Hunter, and I didn't want to. Now because of this, I didn't roll Hunter. I'm sure there's people that I'm not saying that's a big population, but I'm sure people are feeling that now. Man, or they rolled Hunter in the beginning, realized it was shit, and then rolled a warrior or a rogue.
It's a big deal, man, because people, when they're deciding their class during Classic and they wanted to play Hunter, they would get memed on by people. They'd be like, Hunter sucks, right, in raids, right? It sucks, it falls off, right? And that's a big thing that goes into people's thought process for sure, man. Yep. So
yeah,
the Hunter's going to rise up in PvC, though.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Just imagine, like, if red pallies out of nowhere. Oh, there's a bug that reduced their damage by 700%. So all the warriors switch to pallies, and they have to finally get their comeuppance for making fun of them for the past year.
That bug was forgetting to put Crusader Strike in the game.
They found a bug that red paladin attack power was nerfed by 90% or something. Oh god.
I think this is good though. And it is nice to see that they're doing this. And like Legend said, it might be because of Tier 3 coming out, because of the bonuses that the paladins and the shamans get that they're doing it now. But I don't know. I'm really because our hunters, we have some really good hunters in our raid. Finally, I feel like hunters are the hardest class to find. We had such a hard time finding reliable hunters. We finally have 2 amazing hunters right now, and I'm just really happy that
we invited 15 so we can replace them with the warriors in Nax. No, but we definitely have a lot of hunters lately. I think that's Alliance versus Horde difference, because we have many problems finding warlocks instead of hunters.
Really? Why is that?
Yeah. Huh. I don't know, many people seem not to like warlocks in Alliance.
No one wants to play them.
No, I think because it's considered a dark race or a dark class, and Horde is the dark.
That's faction. Weird. I mean, Alliance would be best for damage.
Yeah.
Gnomes.
Yeah, that's interesting. Huh.
Mm-hmm. Is there any other takeaways from this? Anything interesting that so Nax come in, the Hunter stuff.
In weapon totems was a very minor thing. They also fixed the priest issue where Darkmoon card. Twisted Nether wasn't working.
Was another one though. It's not that big.
What else was it? They fixed the auto shot issue, so it actually was another hunter buff. But everyone knows about this already and has a macro to fix this, so it's not a big deal. But basically, if you aim shot, sometimes it'll check. The game will check for an auto shot reset during your aim shot, and if it does it during the cast time of aim shot, it could push your auto shot past. So you'll aim shot, and there'll be a lag phase, and you would auto shot. You're like, why is that happening? Well, that's why it's happening. They fixed that, but most hunters have a macro to fix it, so it's not really a big deal. Other than that, nothing. The books come out, so there's a few new ranks of spells that come out. Shaman get a new Flame Shock. Conjure Food comes out.
I totally forgot about that. That surprised me. I did not remember that from Naxxramas Spec. There's more skill books. Is that just? Is it from Nax, or where do you get those?
No, they're fairly random bosses. One's in Ubers, one's in Dire Maul, one's in
one is in Ubers or Dire Maul. I forget the food one.
I forget.
What was that event with Nax where they had undeads all over the world? Even outside
it's it's the Nax event. It's the
Scourge
invasion.
Scourge Invasion.
So that's about to happen soon.
The original one.
That's the pre. That's right before the patch comes out. Yeah, pre-patch.
I'm actually really excited for that, dude. I have such strong memories of that during real vanilla.
I remember getting killed by fucking big packs of undead while I was leveling up and shit.
Yeah, that's gonna be hype, man.
Leveling up my priest. Yeah.
Actually, speaking of the class books, I think that's putting them in the old dungeons. I think that's kind of a genius design. It keeps old content relevant, and I really like that. I wish they would do something like that in retail. But there's no class ranks, I think, is there? Well, actually, there are class ranks now in retail, but it changed a bit.
Well, yeah, they got rid of that a while ago. I think with Pandaria or something, or Cataclysm maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and the other thing is a lot of people now trying to get their rep up, you know what I mean, for Nax, so a lot of people are getting up, making sure they're trying to get the rep. The shamans had their totems that drop in Skolo, which was cool. Hamster in the chat. What's up, Hamster Wheel?
Yo, Hamster.
Hey. But I like doing that as well, and I need to get. I'm still revered with Archer Jones. I still need to get up to Exalted. Yeah.
But is it worth it though? I don't know. It looks like a big time investment.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Next hits. You think so?
I think it's just a discount, right? You can still get a tune, but it's a discount. I'm not sure. Do the tier set quest, does that require rep like AQ did?
Oh, maybe.
No.
Does that require Exalted, maybe?
I'm pretty sure it does not. You only need the items tournament, the certain items that you need.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's free when you're Exalted, and then Revered, you need like...
It's like 2 Nexus Crystals,
yeah.
1 Righteous Orb, I forget, 30 gold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the Honored is just like 60 gold, 4 Righteous Orbs, like 5 Nexus. It's you should try to get Exalted if you can. I did. I mean, I ran a lot of Skolo because I was trying to get Exalted before. And I also wanted the Shaman Totem. Like, again, Dunedain, this is what you were saying, making older gear relevant. Like, when they brought totems into the game, there's a totem that drops in Skolomance, and I wanted to get, so I ran Skolo to get that.
Did you do Nax back in the day, MadSeason?
We did it. We didn't complete all of it. We're kind of at a crossroads, my guild and I, and how far we got. I think we only killed the Spider Wing, which was Fairlina, Makesna, and Anubricon, or Anubarak. I forget which one.
Anubricon, yeah.
Anubricon. And I think we got like 1 or 2 bosses in each of the other wings. Like the intro bosses were always pretty doable, and Spider Wing was the easiest. My guild says we got like at least 2 of the other wings, but I don't know. I personally don't remember that.
Wait, you're not raiding with the same guild from back in the day still, are you?
No, all my friends from back then, they prefer current, unfortunately. So I only have one friend from back in the day who played Classic with me, and we just raid with Crusade, S-Fens Guild.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
How does
Current?
Oh, sorry, go ahead. No.
I'm sorry. Speaking of Current, are you excited for Shadowlands? Yeah.
I'm optimistic for it. I try to go into each expansion optimistic, just to give it a chance. Even though BFA really doesn't give me a reason to do that, honestly. And I'm gonna give it a legitimate chance, but I don't know. Like, it's gonna have to be extremely good for me to play Shadowlands over like vanilla and BC. Like MMOs are time consuming. I have time for 2 max, and when BC comes out, I'm obviously gonna play that. I don't think I'll ever quit Classic. I might slow down my playtime a little bit, but I was just logging for Battlegrounds and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, like Shadowlands has to be really good for me to play it, like as good as Legion. So I'm just it's sort of like a wait and see sort of thing.
No, it's kind of funny. I was interested in playing Shadowlands because many in the guild were, and then you came out with your video on it, MadSeason. And
really?
after I watched it, my hype was totally killed.
Oh no, a lot of people said that.
Yeah,
I tried to like present it in an objective way.
You did,
and I thought I did,
problem,
but
though.
but that was the problem. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it's objectively not interesting. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I played the beta, and it kind of it hyped me a little bit, but not enough. I don't think I'm gonna play it at all. I simply don't like the class design at all.
Exactly. I don't like the class design. I don't like the gameplay. It's not.
The gameplay can be very good. I don't know what the gameplay is because I don't like the class design, and that's the problem.
I mean, yeah,
But,
exactly. I was playing
I'm
Red
with you,
Pally,
Dunedain,
and I
bro.
hate it. Yeah.
Oh my god, Threat Potent,
It's horrible. It's
I
horrible.
can't stand
dude.
it. It's
It's
insanely
absolutely
bad.
horrible. You feel like you really feel like you're just someone rolling in a wheelchair.
Well, I think Dunedain's
I mean,
kind of like
yeah.
Neo in the sense where stuff has to kind of look cool and pass that initial check. I know gameplay should be the most important thing, right? For all the MMO big brains, like the gameplay is usually the most important factor. But for me, the stuff kind of has to look cool. The class fantasy and all those boxes have to be checked for you to even give the gameplay a shot.
Mm-hmm.
I want to highlight a YouTube comment real quick by Rob Januszewski. I hope I didn't destroy that. Made my girlfriend listen to MadSeason's History of WoW video on a road trip one time. I highlighted our relationship to be sure.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's what's up,
I
man.
think that's great.
Yeah,
It's pretty
that's
cool.
awesome, dude.
So,
Yeah.
what's your plans come TBC, MadSeason? Are you gonna play TBC primarily? How do you view TBC, by the way? Are you more of a TBC? I poll the chat all the time, and even though I'm a classic streamer, most people like TBC more than classic. But yeah,
I think for me, I'll always prefer Classic, and a lot of that just for nostalgia. It wasn't my first MMO. My first MMO was Star Wars Galaxies, but Classic was like the first MMO that I played like with like a big raiding guild, and I made just a ton of friends with. So I'm of the belief that nostalgia is a legitimate reason to like something. There's kind of like a what's it called? A stigma against using that as a reason to like something. Like, oh, you guys have seen it all the time. Oh, it's all rose-colored goggles. It's not actually good. People trying to convince you what you like and you don't like. But you know, I kind of look at it similar to like watching an old movie from your childhood, playing an old game from your childhood. You know, playing the old Marios or Ocarina of Time, Zeldas, old Final Fantasies. And those don't really have a stigma. I never like had somebody come to me and say, Ocarina of Time actually isn't good. You just like it because you played it as a kid. But with Classic and this whole Classic versus current dynamic, it can get really, really sort of gatekeepy and toxic.
Yeah.
But I do look at it. It's a legitimate reason to like something. And I think for nostalgia mainly, I'll always prefer Classic. But I think as a game, I would prefer BC more, just because we don't know for sure yet, but what I expect to be a more difficult raiding scene. The classes are closer to each other, but they still have these unique perks that make them, you know, unique from each other. Referencing here, like, you know, on current, there are items that allow anybody to use heroism, that allow engineers to use battle res, and as Defcamp said earlier, you know, everybody has a bubble, they're like some sort of immunity. You can't kill me for 10 seconds, so that used to be the mage and pally thing. But they're closer to each other, but they have their unique quirks. The PvP system, Arena, I think is vastly improved over Classic. I can tell you, as somebody who grinded out Rank 14, that the Rank 14 system kind of sucks.
Yeah. Yo, beautifully said, man. I feel like I'm in a Mad Season video. Like,
Yeah.
the music was hitting as you were saying
Same
it.
thing, Kargoz.
It's just
Yeah,
one
my
thing I want to
music
go
in the
on and correct
background.
MadSeason on.
But
Sorry,
for me,
Oh, yeah, sure.
like, nostalgia is I mean, I know this might be oversharey or whatever, but for me, it's kind of like the closest thing I have to like some form of spirituality. I really appreciate nostalgia. I'm the type of person that like,
Yeah, man.
I have to go back to my hometown every, you know, couple moons to go just walk around it and like go look at all the old like hollowed ground that I like built my life on it. So I'm right there with you, man. And I'm more of a Classic boy, all things considered. You have to give him extra brownie points because it's the base version of the game that started it all, right? But like you said, yeah.
There's only one thing I want to correct MadSeason on. It's pronounced bloodlust, not heroism.
Oh, this guy. This horde privilege right here. Don't you have a war chief's blessing to get there, buddy?
I already got it.
What are your plans in TV? Because I don't know if Esfan was joking, but is he going horde in TVC? Because I know he's a Red Pally, and obviously Seal Blood is the way to go if you want to raid as a Red Pally.
That's
in
not
TVC,
true.
so come
Real
on!
Red didn't stay Alliance, man. It's
a huge DPS increase. Seal of Blood.
Well, yeah, true, but Alliance take pride in not having that.
Yeah, we play hard mode. You guys have all the easy racials.
Oh, please!
Vanilla, you have the overpowered class.
Okay, easy. You guys have a reduced threat. You can give everyone the raid. Come on.
You guys have.
That's because we're Chads.
What's it called? Totems.
We're gonna finally settle the score. We'll have a 40-man shaman raid versus a 40-man paladin raid, and finally settle the score.
I would love to do that. Remember they did that back in the day.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah.
So Mad Season, you got rank 14, man. That's pretty impressive, but you're missing one achievement on your belt from Vanilla still. The old solo warrior hardcore challenge, man. Maybe one day we'll see that the ultimate leveling side of things. Have you heard about hardcore at all? I know it's gonna.
Dude, leveling a warrior normally is solo is hardcore already.
It is, dude.
Is hardcore is that not refresh me on the rules of hardcore? Is that you can't have green items as well?
You
it's
have
just grays and whites.
You basically almost RP as a mortal with one life, and so you have one life, and then the gear set, the gear rules, loot rules, whatever you want to call it, is solo self-found, which is something that's existed in other games and stuff.
Oh yeah, Diablo days.
Yeah, so you can only use stuff that you pretty much find yourself, and so one life solo self-found, and there's some little tinier rules too, like you can do dungeon groups but only with other hardcore players, and you can only run each dungeon one time. Like a lot of this stuff was designed originally to stop dungeon cleaving, stop dungeon boosting, to encourage people to get out in the open world and play and take advantage of this huge swath of content in Classic that really makes it so special, the leveling side. But there's also that kind of RP aspect that kind of fell into place as well with it. But just throwing it out there, it'd be.
Yeah, I mean, I tried that out a little bit during the beta of the game because you hit 35 or whatever the max was, I forget. Kind of ran out of stuff to do, and I died on a hunter, which is not a good sign. So I'm not sure if I'd make it on a warrior. It could definitely be something to try. I think it would be interesting, but I feel like I probably would not make it out of Westfall. I'm pretty sure the Murlocs would just body
just keep
me.
trying.
It
tough. Makes you appreciate every little thing, though, which is a great part.
Yeah, it's intense. It's intense.
Yeah, I recently did a duo with Melderon. We were doing duo hardcore. He was playing shaman. I was playing warrior, and as a warrior, like I had never played a warrior before, and I was joking before, but like I felt the Zug, right? You feel the Zug, and it's like a warrior is that one of the classes where it's like the playstyle almost makes you want to push your limits, right? And it's such a hard class to just not go balls to the wall, charge shit when I got 20% health, pop sweeping strikes, have 4 mobs hitting me. Like, so it's like it goes against the grain as a warrior to try to be survival. And I ended up dying, charged something while Melderon's getting chased by scorpions and he's like, use intimidating shout. I'm like, I don't have it. It's right there in my bars. He's screaming at me. And we died. But luckily I went ahead and I was like, I'm just going to level a warrior regular without hardcore. And it's like, I feel like warrior is such a hard class for hardcore because you're almost incentivized to play dangerous with a warrior. You know what I mean? With going into sweeping strikes and, pulling 3 mobs at a time. But the great thing about hardcore, like what I'm doing on my warlock now, it's like you get a green item and you're like, oh my god, freaking out. It's got 10 stamina on it. Stamina.
He's really excited.
I love leveling a lot, and Kargoz is absolutely right. Like I hated seeing what happened to the leveling meta. Everyone just going in, getting boosted, or doing the dungeon cleaves and stuff like that. And Melderon and I were saying like the most fun we ever had a lot of times was like doing a dungeon, with hardcore characters and like being afraid like, oh my god, we gotta take care and like make sure we CC and not pull too much, or if someone dies they're done, like their character's gone.
Yeah, you delete. That was the other thing I forgot to say, MadSeason. So it kind of makes spicy stream content because everybody kind of wants you to die, but at the same time they want you to it's fun. And only reason I bring it up too is because when you told me that you like classic over even DBC, all things considered, it's the leveling has got to be a big part of that equation for you, right? I don't mean to speak on your behalf here, but the leveling is pretty magical in classic, so you might like it. It changes more than you think playing with one life. Just leave it at that.
It brings it closer to, even though obviously back then nobody did hardcore, but it brings it closer to what it was back in the day. Like I said, like a lot of what's missing from the game is a little bit of that difficulty and the danger of the world, the sense of danger. So I think hardcore is interesting because it brings it back. And you're kind of like, oh, what's around this corner? Do I want to go into this cave? I think it's it might be something I try. Like Nax is out. I'm looking for stuff to do, right?
Yeah,
I think it could be interesting.
Content drought, that would be sick, dude. That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
So, what are you guys planning for next in any way, Mads? Like as far as PTR testing, or have you guys talked about that yet?
I never PTR test really. I like, it's never fresh because we played it back then, but I like to try to experience it as fresh as possible. The only way I'm really preparing for it is just, like you said earlier, getting Exalted with Argent Dawn. I think I'm like halfway through Revered, just to, in case that you guys said it doesn't require it, but I don't know. I just like maxing out reps, I guess.
Me too.
Making the attunement cheaper and stuff like that. Just the basic stuff. I leveled up some leather workers for the refined deep rock salt because I know all those quests require that. So a little bit of gold stuff as well.
Yeah, if you're clothy, make sure you get Mooncloth. If you are a mail or plate, make sure you get your Arcanite bars. Make sure you get some Cured Rugged Hides.
Yeah.
Get all those done. Honestly, guys, definitely make sure you're farming Shadow Protection Potions and Frost Protection Potions. Those are going to be big.
Yeah.
So Elemental Water, Fade Leaf, and Grave Moss, and then Dream Foil. Lots of Dream Foil.
Yeah.
Well, here's a good question. What about Saffron? Do you think that you can kind of, because I know a lot of guilds zug Huhuran and don't really put on that much nature resist. Do you guys think it'll be the same for Saffron?
I think it's gonna be a balance.
Maybe just put on like 50.
Yeah, I do actually. I think it's gonna be like Huhuran trying to find just enough amount of frost resistance that the healers can keep up. Because honestly, dude, the healing is so easy. Like a lot of our healers are bored at this point, just because of how simple it is, and like Huhuran is not that difficult. So I think it's going to be the balance of having make sure they're hit capped, and then the rest just put frost resistance, something like that.
That's what we do for Huhu. We make sure they're hit capped and then put a few pieces on.
Yeah.
But for Saf, the only thing I'm worried about is that I forget if it's percentage based or time based when she goes up in the air. Is it percentage based or time? I cannot remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We never got to her.
So that's going to be, that might extend the fight a little bit. And the people who are in the ice blocks are going to be taking a shit ton of damage. And I'm wondering if it might be prudent to put, FR for that reason, or use pots for that reason, because the healers have to heal those people that are in the ice blocks. So I don't know.
Or else everyone dies, right?
Yeah. So Hamster just said he talked to some hardcore Privateer players, and they said that in regards to staff, they will skip some of the FR gear, but not all of it. Yeah. So it's probably going to be a lot like Huhuran.
Huhuran,
yeah.
Yo, Matt, on a kind of lighter note, I always like hearing about this from other content creators, people who are passionate about the game. I know you're mainly a warrior. Is that the class fantasy that resonates the most with you out of all of them, when it comes to the flavor and just skills and everything?
Really rogue for me. In every RPG I've ever played, like even the old Elder Scrolls, I always played like the stealthy character, the thief. Like I'll be stealthing around with daggers or dual wielding or even a bow. And that's what I played in the original run back in 2004.
Okay.
I started with a paladin, but then I realized that paladins basically just heal, so then I switched to a rogue pretty quickly. I played that all the way, and that's been my main for most of the game ever since launch. But just for Classic, I wanted to try something different, and I wanted to stay melee. I prefer melee in the game, and I was thinking I might grind rank 14, and really it's kind of like a weird reason, but I think the rank 14 armor looks really cool on warriors, the claymore and stuff too, so that was part of it. Even though I really had no reasonable intention to grind rank 14 when I started, it just kind of worked out that way. But yeah, I guess to answer your question, I made it like a rogue, a stealthy character, but just to switch things up for Classic, I went warrior, and that was my YouTube avatar too, so it just it felt right.
Now, what about least favorite? Like, which class, fantasy, and race maybe combination seems the least appealing to you for whatever reason?
Druid. I've never really, and not because they're they're not the best in Classic. The jack of all trades, master of none is like the jack off of all trades and master of none to me. I'd rather be good at one thing, right? So, there's nothing wrong with that playstyle. I can see why people like it, and hybrid specs are interesting and they're cool. But I guess it's just not for me.
They're getting their revenge come TBC. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Do you like Priest MadSeason?
No, because they keep dispelling me.
But I can shield your soul. I can shield. Yeah, come on, man, Priest. Okay.
Oh, no, then you lose rage. You don't get rage with shields. No, priests are my worst enemy.
Defcamp's favorite race and class combo. He loves playing female Night Elf Hunter, dude, with some nice J-Lo earrings on, dude.
Don't say that.
Yeah,
no.
I have a second level 60 now. It's a female Night Elf Hunter, especially for you.
Oh God, Dunedain, why?
Yeah, I think if you log in on my server again, I come and say hi to you, my female Night Elf Hunter.
Do you agree with this? MadSeason is one of the most the player that I hate the most is it's the dude that plays female Night Elf Hunter and tries to it just it's a level 60 who they don't know how to PvP, so they just go around Stranglethorn Vale ganking lobies, going fucking Shadow Meld, oh, here comes a priest, let me Viper fucking sting him, fucking yeah.
You love that ability though.
Oh my God, I hate them. I hate them so much. But a lot of people don't understand Priest, and I really want to change that, because Priest is such a good class, man. It really is, and in TBC they get so much better, and I'm so passionate about it. Shadow Priest is so fucking strong. Holy Priest is amazing. Oh, yeah. You get Circle of Healing, Prayer of Mending. You're basically everything a shaman was in vanilla and more. You're just the elite healer in TBC, and I don't want to hear anything about
the racials are sick too in TBC, man. I really like how they're short cooldowns.
Your racials, you got Chastise as a dwarf, which is basically a root, You still have Devouring Plague. Everyone gets Fear Ward, right?
You know about Star Shards,
the only class that has race-specific racials. I'm sorry. I meant class-specific racials. So I don't know. I just think like a lot of people misunderstand priests. So I'm here to change.
You heard about the Star Shards TBC changes, Defcamp? That was shocking.
Yeah,
to me,
Star Shards smacks in TBC.
It's
bro.
0 cooldown, 50% uptime. Yeah. It's insane. Yeah,
it slaps, dude.
Too bad it is a shadow spell, because then they would give.
That's why Devouring Plague is so good, because it is a shadow spell.
Yeah.
I remember Shadow Priests in BC were just like insane. They're insane.
See,
at least for PvP. I hear for PvE as well.
For PvE
like
too.
Regen.
Did you know that right now, MadSeasons? I'm sorry, I keep on saying with an S. I don't know why, but I've always said I can't. We call it Defcampisms, but
we have a Discord channel just for that. Yeah.
Did you know that Shadow Priest is like what, number 4 on DPS right now, Melderon?
Yeah,
overall.
I told you about it.
Yeah, I know, it's insane.
Then of course I know about it.
Right. Well, yeah. I meant MadSeason. I asked, did he know about it? So overall damage output. I was saying Melderon right number 4 is what I meant.
That is correct.
Yeah. Overall in DPS, Shadow Priests are like number 4. Can you guys?
No. I'm sorry. They're not number 4. They're like number 5 or something like that.
Still, they're really high up there. They're above Warlocks, right?
They're above Warlocks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right below Elemental Shaman. Yeah.
They're above Warlocks. How crazy is that?
Are you talking about Classic or BC?
Yes, for Classic. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Currently in AQ40. Yeah.
That's insane, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting meta, because the weakness of Shadow Priests back in the day was they would run out of mana.
Exactly.
But because the fights are so short these days, they don't have that problem anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I have a question for MadSeason, because I've always wanted to ask you this question. Where does the name come from?
Ooh.
MadSeason?
That's a good
MadSeason Show or MadSeason, yeah.
It's a pretty boring story, to be honest, but there's a band called MadSeason. It's a 90s grunge band headed by Lane Staley. He was the lead singer of Alice in Chains. That's like the more popular one.
Oh, yeah.
And my character's name back in the day was Showtime on Khadgar, and everybody just calls me Show, and I just kind of combined the two.
Huh.
Yeah, it's not very creative. Sad to say.
I mean, it's more creative than a lot of ours. A lot of ours are just like randomly generated.
Yeah, mine's is.
Yeah.
So you're a fan of grunge, huh? You like?
Oh yeah.
That's good, because Melderon hates Nirvana, and I hate him because
I like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots, all that 90s grunge.
I love you, Santa.
If there's anybody in the chat right now's our chance. We don't have MadSeason's time is precious. If you have any hot seat questions for MadSeason, keep it respectful, obviously. But if you have any questions for one of the goats right here in the content game, now's your chance, chat. We'll maybe pick a couple out.
Are you single?
Let me have them.
Are you single? And
There's that games.
Hey, I got rank 14, man. Come on.
All right, spicy question coming out of Hamster Wheel Gaming. Yo, MadSeason, what do you think of Weezer then?
Weezer? I like them kind of casually though.
Yeah.
Do you classify them as grunge? I think they're more kind of alternative to me. But no, they're all right. I like them.
Another one. Does MadSeason ever get excited? I'm sure you do. But the voice stays pretty stable,
I will say that when Classic was announced, I did make an embarrassing noise, but luckily, I wasn't streaming back then, so myself.
One noise. What? Yeah. All right.
He was like, yes.
What's MadSeason's thoughts about New World and new MMORPGs? I love this chat. We should do this segment more with guest Melderon hot seat questions from the chat.
Yeah. Yep.
What do you think about New World and any of these new ones that they're talking about?
Honestly, I haven't really looked into it. They asked me this on Allcraft about Fires of Creation, I think it is, or Fires of Heaven, or is that the EverQuest? Ashes of Creation. Yeah, well, the answer's right there, I guess. I don't really pay too much attention to other MMOs. I was one of those players, one of those doomers back in 2008. Well, more like Cataclysm 2010, where I'd say okay, World of Warcraft's dying, the game's over, you guys. I'm gonna go play Age of Conan, or I'm gonna go play Warhammer Online. I played every MMO that came out. Star Wars Old Republic, Aeon was one of the big WoW killers. I doubt anybody even remembers that game. But probably around maybe after Pandaria, I just kind of I don't know. I lost interest in like following new MMOs really because I don't know, World of Warcraft, particularly Classic, BC, and Wrath, kind of just it ruined MMOs for me. It's
best games of all time, man.
Yeah, it's nothing can really compare. So I just kind of gave up since then. I do hear good things about Ashes of Creation and New World, and I don't know, like if only retail was out and only Shadowlands was the option for World of Warcraft, I'd probably check them out. But I'm quite content with Classic and of course BC coming up as well. So I doubt I'll really get into those.
Gotcha. What's your go-to gamer drink?
Gamer drink, beer.
Oh, I think you're gonna say.
Okay,
Snapple,
what kind of talking? PBRs? We're talking some Rocky Mountain refreshment. We're talking some.
I have a bunch of different ones usually. I get a different brand each time. I've been I'm kind of new to the scene ever since I started the rank 14 grind, so you can make the connection there. Right now I'm drinking Budweiser, so.
Nice. Are we ever going to get a face reveal? Feel free to play the fifth. Feel free to play the fifth.
I don't know. I mean, never say never, but I don't really plan on it. I'm a pretty private person overall. I was on YouTube in the very early days, and face reveals are pretty common. There's nothing wrong with them, but in general, I saw a lot of pitfalls that channels fall into, and in general, not to get too off topic here, but I feel like one of their biggest downfalls is they share too much personal information.
Oh yeah, guilty.
Yep. Yeah, and people kind of get crazy with that. And you see a lot of channels today that are feeling the repercussions about that now with doxing, swatting, and all sorts of stuff. And not that a face reveal is anything that's super private, but I think just because of that, I've always been really, really private with myself.
Well, the fact you've had this much success without the face reveal, because a lot of people will tell you, again, it's if they go to the YouTube Twitch Academy, they'll say you have to have a very excited, energetic voice, and you have to do a face reveal because you get more viewers. The fact that you've done neither and still have monstrous success is just really a testament to your content.
Yeah,
it's part of the charm, I think.
Yeah, the meta has changed. Back in the day, nobody had a face cam, and face cams were kind of seen as the opposite. But over time, I'd say maybe 2010. Maybe around that time.
Gives you an air of mystery,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. It gives you a little bit of mystery, and there's people who demand for me to show my face, so it's a little bit out of spite. I think it's a little. I have a little bit of a immaturity there. Yeah.
People are saying that you stopped streaming. Is there any truth? There's a couple people saying, "Are you ever going to stream again or something like that?"
Yeah, maybe when BC comes out, I'll pick up streaming again. Basically, right now, back when Classic launched, like many people, let me back up a bit. Right now, the way I word it is I have 3 things in my life right now. My personal life, of course, which is huge, and then YouTube is obviously very time consuming, and streaming. I really only have time for 2, and back when Classic launched, I prioritized really streaming and YouTube, and neglected my personal life a little bit, especially with the rank 14 grind.
Oh, I bet.
But yeah, recently, as soon as I finished the rank 14 grind, I was like, okay, I gotta take care of some stuff. I only have time for 2 out of these 3 things, and I really want to get back to YouTube. I mean, I like streaming, but I always consider YouTube is my main passion. It's my creative outlet. So just right now, I only have time for 2 things, and I'm just choosing my personal life and YouTube. But in the future, I might kind of ease back on YouTube a little bit and switch to streaming. Just to keep things interesting so I don't burn out and stuff.
Hell yeah. Nice. Here's another question. Do you feel like you wasted time with WoW, or do you ever regret playing WoW? I guess, that's the question.
No, not really. Even with the rank 14 grind, and I said this in my return video that I posted, specifically with that, it's just meeting new people and making friends. I made a ton of friends with the rank 14 grind, and I had a lot of memorable moments. I mean, really, why else do we play MMOs? Really, it's for that community aspect of meeting new people and making friends, man. And, ultimately it is something that I enjoy. It's my hobby, and ever since the beta of last year, it's been my profession. So I don't know. I guess in a way it justifies myself no-lifing it back in the day, because my parents would always yell at me focus on school, or you're playing this damn game too much. But now I can say hey, I was just practicing
no, it's
for this moment.
Yep. I love meeting other creators too, man, because I have a kind of a weird existence, don't we? This is kind of just a strange path to take.
Yeah, we're lucky, man. We're very lucky.
It is, yeah.
Another question: did MadSeason play Blizzard games prior to WoW, and if so, how far back? Yeah.
World of Warcraft was my first Blizzard game, but after it came out, I did play back like the old Warcrafts and Diablo, but I did not really play them on release. I remember I checked out Warcraft when Wrath of the Lich King came out, because that's when they... Well, really, honestly, that started with BC, but they really started injecting the story a lot at that point and shifting the focus to more of these major lore characters. And I thought, the Lich King and Arthas was awesome. So that led me into the path of, looking at wikis and looking at his story, and then eventually, oh, okay, he's from Warcraft. There's a RTS series called Warcraft. So I'd say, like many others, World of Warcraft kind of introduced me to Blizzard games, not the other way around.
Gotcha.
I saw an interesting question, too. What's your favorite race lore-wise?
Favorite race lore-wise? Does that include current?
Why not?
Fine, yeah, damn it. Yeah, go ahead.
It's definitely the Volpera. No.
No,
my heart.
I don't know. Should I just be boring as my voice and say humans? I usually play the human character.
No, there is nothing wrong with that, brother. Defcamp would say otherwise, though. I like orcs and humans, and Defcamp thinks I'm a Nord.
It's so normie. What? Explain to me why. Why do you like humans, though? Like, what is the...
Because I like to see my amazing physique in World of Warcraft, as you know, and the human character models. It's the most realistic, so.
Well, do you see yourself in your character? Like, do you almost kind of like pretend like that's how you would be if that was the world? Or...
Oh, you mean like looks-wise and like his hairstyle and stuff?
Like, well, some people play like a female Night Elf Hunter, and they're, they look like Smeagol or something. But they like to make that character have its own story, and like they view it as like maybe they're playing like Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider or something, like that's the character, as opposed to feeling like that's how you would look in this fantasy universe if you were like transported into it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's more of like an RP thing. I guess not for me. I've never really been into RP unless it's in Moonguard Goldshire. It's really just, I don't know, I just like humans, pretty much.
That's why you like humans. It's close to Goldshire.
Yeah, there you go. Quick access.
Someone said
a favorite zone in Classic WoW.
Favorite zone? I really like Red Ridge Mountains. I have, that's like the most nostalgic for me. Spent the most time there back in the day. Lots of memories in there. I really like just like those beginning human zones like Elwyn Forest, Duskwood, Red Ridge. I think, in fact, those are like the first zones they ever made for the game, so they have like the most work put into them. So I guess that's probably the reason why too.
Can confirm Hedgeon's stats on the show. He was talking about that.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
I was going to say I like humans just because of those zones, basically. The beginning is so fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone said that MadSeason cannot do a face reel because he's actually Kevin Jordan.
With a voice modifier, he's like, "I'm back, guys." No.
You got me.
Someone said do a face reveal, and you hype it up, right? You do a big face reveal for like weeks, you announce it, and then you show up, but it's you in like a cosplay Lionheart helm, and it looks just like your avatar. That'd be hilarious.
No, I would just have my character model and click show helm off.
That's there you go. Get some nice views with that.
I was gonna say, he's got a picture of Chuck Norris there or something.
Here's a question. This is kind of a hard-hitting IRL type thing. Where do you think you would be in life if WoW didn't exist?
President.
Definitely a movie star.
Movie star.
100%. Yep. Really, I'm not sure. I wouldn't even begin to think where I would be. It's really just too unpredictable.
Is making videos your passion, though? You think you would be doing content still? Like, if all this wasn't even a thing, you'd just find something else to latch on to?
I'm not sure if I ever would have landed in video editing. I mean, it is my passion, I feel, in life, but it was really just happenstance that I started it in Warlords of Draenor. That's why I always say, like, jokingly, Warlords of Draenor is my favorite expansion because it was so bad, because it allowed me to start my YouTube channel.
Yeah,
that's good. That's a good one, bro. I like that. Oh, man.
Wow.
Let's see. Any last questions, guys? We're starting to get towards the end here. Last chance, chat, if you have anything for the GOAT. Let's see here.
Yeah,
Melderon, your camera is bugged right now, Melderon, and you're like a perfect pose right now with the cheese. It actually looks great, dude.
He's like...
That is it right there. Is he good, Defcamp? Have you heard from him? You haven't heard from him in like half an hour. Did he screenshot his camera and just put it up?
Yeah.
Oh god, it looks like he's laughing along with us right now. Like.
Yeah. He really likes our jokes.
He's legit not here. Oh, he's back. He's back.
Oh, he's back.
He's muted though.
Hard. It's so good.
He's muted.
Can you hear me? Can you
Now
guys
we
hear
can.
me?
Yes, we
Yeah,
can.
we can hear you.
Oh, I've been talking fucking forever.
Huge smile on your face.
That's
Cheese
great.
is so hard. It was stuck on that. Yeah, we're just all dying.
Melderon is AFK looking at porn. That's right, MadSeason. I have exactly what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I have a question for MadSeason. What are you rolling in TBC?
I'm kind of undecided. It really depends on where I want to put my focus on, like end game. If I want to go big into PvP or PvE, I might just continue the warrior. I feel like I'm pretty invested into the warrior, so I can use like my title and stuff. And BC warriors are really fun. I hear they look really good. They get a ton of really good talents and stuff, and they're super strong in PvP in particular. So
They are. Yeah.
I guess right now, just to give you an answer, I'm gonna say warrior, but as I get more classes to 60 in classic, that might change.
Gotcha.
Well,
What are you loving right now? Aside from the hunter, just out of curiosity.
Mainly just the hunter. I was maybe gonna go mage after hunter or warlock, one of the two.
No all shaman in the future.
I'd have to play horde, and I'm not sure about that.
Oh, come.
All right. Just wanted to see.
is there anybody watching on both platforms, almost 1,000 people across both, that doesn't know who MadSeason is? I don't think there is. But if by some miracle you've been living under I don't know. Here is YouTube and Twitch, guys. We gotta just trying to shout them out.
I want to hear about MadSeasons.
MadSeasons.
Yeah.
That's the alt account right there.
Mad seasoning. There you go. I got some mad seasoning.
What's your Twitch? Is it MadSeasons? No, but I'm gonna.
MadSeasonShow.
Okay.
Everything's MadSeasonShow aside from my Twitter, which is just underscore, because somebody got my name back during Draenor, or it was Legion maybe.
I think we all know how that feels. Yeah.
There it
Yeah,
is.
I'm not really big on. I don't really use Twitter that much anyway, so it's whatever.
There's just so much love for you though in the chat, man. Everybody really appreciates
know,
you. I've
bro.
never seen the like to dislike ratio look so good on a Kargoz thing. You know, it's-
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Dude,
really.
I can't wait to play Among Us with you again. Because the great thing is like you
Hell
can't
yeah.
tell when he's the killer, right? Because he's just like, hey guys, I'm not the killer.
True. He's probably so
And
good
when
at that
he's not the killer,
game.
he's like, hey guys, I'm not the killer.
my secret.
That's like, how do you know?
He's probably amazing at that game. True.
He is.
Oh God. Well, MadSeason, brother, we really appreciate you being here, man. Like it's an honor, man. Like another huge, great content creator here, and we've been, in the game making content for years now, but never had a chance to link up. Do you guys have any final questions for MadSeason, or if MadSeason, if you want to say anything, man?
I just want to say what I said in the beginning of the stream. Like, it's right back at you guys. It's an honor to be on here, and I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys had fun. I hope the viewers had fun, and let's do it again sometime.
Hell
Don't
yeah.
be shy of inviting me again.
Oh yeah.
You really can't shut me up about this game, so
Nice.
I'm always down.
Same, brother.
That'd be
Same.
awesome. I want to say it's been a big honor talking to you. I'm a
Same
huge
to you,
fan
man.
of your content, and basically, I think you have all the content creators, and then you have you, and it's like there's like that difference. And I don't mean that in a bad way towards Defcamp, Melderon, Kargoz, or anyone else, but
I'm taken.
Nah,
Oh,
you guys
no,
don't give
yeah,
yourselves
they're
enough
just,
credit,
they are
man.
just
You
so
guys
good.
don't give yourselves enough credit.
just keep doing what you do. It's really great. I enjoy it so much. So thanks
Yeah,
for
so-
being here.
Yeah, same to
same.
you guys.
Thank you, brother. We love you, man.
Thanks for having me.
Melderon, thanks for pulling this off, dude. Okay,
Yeah,
you went
it's
in
funny
there
because
somehow.
like Matt and I have just had I just feel like we've had a back and forth kind of thing on Twitter a little bit, and we never got a chance to really talk. And I'm really glad we got a chance to, because there's a couple people. One of them's in this chat right now. Hamster Wheel, Workbit, MadSeason. You're the reason why I started making content. So because it's just kind of one of those things where inspirational, very inspirational. It's not just like when I started making content, but the way I also design some of my more cinematic videos, which are very uncommon. Like usually I do guides, but once in a while I do a cinematic video, and I've looked to your channel for inspiration, so I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man! Thank you so much.
I was really looking forward to a new MadSeasons videos. No, for real though. I've like Melderon said, dude, we've been watching for a long time, man, and to have you on the show, it's been awesome. We've really been lucky with people that we've been able to get on the show, and I feel like this was just like the cherry on the top.
54 episodes, brothers.
I know,
man. It's been a long ride, man. Since before, were we doing this before Classic came out? We were, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. And now we're towards the end, and then TBC, man. Keep it going.
Yeah,
keep it going. Yeah. All right.
I just want to say to anyone playing on EU, come and say hi on Bloodfang if you want. And I linked the Discord in the chat if you wanna come and say hi in the guild. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, guys, we're gonna end the stream here. I'm gonna go ahead and just host Quissy. Say hi to Quissy for me.
Oh,
she's
nice.
She's good people.
Nice. Love Quissy.
And again, get one more sea of emotes for just the Mad Season. Taking the time. Please follow him, support the guests, and we'll see you guys next time. All right, take care. Have a good rest of your day.